barbell rows, there's a few different variations you can do. I showed you two. The main differences between the two pulls is that in the first one, I was pulling towards the belly button and driving in this direction. In the second one, I was pulling a little higher to the sternum. Notice how the elbows come up a bit higher as well. And there's also other variations you can do depending on the bar you're using. You can use a neutral grip or an underhand. So the differences between those two that I showed you is when you're pulling towards the belly button, you're gonna hit your lats a little better. And when you're pulling towards the upper chest or the sternum, you're going to hit the upper back a little harder and will target the lats a little less. Important setup cue when you're doing rows, you wanna have a nice stance. So normally about deadlift stance, which is feet just under your hips, you wanna try to keep this bar as close to you as possible. So that way it doesn't travel too far in front of you, causing you to tip forward or shift your weight too far into the tiptoes. And as for how far down to go, I like to try to get as horizontal as possible. This is just a normal bent over barbell row. So we want it off of the ground. I like being at or just below knee height to pull like here. And I don't like when people go too high or above the knee, because this isn't really a row. It's kind of turns more into like a shrug when you see people do it with heavy weights. All right, we want to mimic as horizontal of a motion as possible. So that's why we want our chest pointing towards the ground. Important cues: chest up, shoulders back, so you're not pulling with a rounded back. And you need to learn how to shift your weight onto your feet. Most of the weight is going to be shifted onto the heels. Maybe about 80% of your weight. 20% will be towards the tiptoe, so that way you're nice and balanced. And for those who have very weak hamstrings, this is going to be a very tough exercise. So I suggest working on your hamstrings with deadlifts, leg curls, RDLs. You should know how to stay in this hip hinge position before trying to do this exercise. Yeah, that's about it.